So hello, and in this tutorial we will work on this 3D scene for the next web integration. And when we are talking about 3D scenes for the web, first of all we should think about composition. When we do a scene for the web, better to understand the layout of the web page where the scene will be placed. So your scene should look good not only by itself, but also together with the other elements on the web page. So when we are talking about the composition, we mean the composition of the scene and the web page. Most popular layouts with the spline scene in the web look like this. Here we have a hero section with some title, description and some call to action from the left side and interactive 3D scene from the right. Resend.com can be a great example of this layout. With this layout, quite important to set the right size of your object, so then it looks balanced with the content from the left. Also, this is the example when your scene composition is focused on the central object. So I can define next compositions of the spline 3D scenes. If you look at the scene with some blur, you will see this blurred spot. This spot is showing the silhouette. With this silhouette, we can better understand the scene composition. So scene can be or object-oriented, when you have your spot closed as if it was one solid object, or scene can be space-oriented, where you don't have one key spot. Instead of that, you have multiple objects placed in some space. Object-oriented scenes also can be splitted by the position of the object. Object can be in the center, bottom right, and etc. And composition is also about it, how positioned these objects. There are a lot of rules and tricks from graphic design, like a golden ratio, the rule of third, and etc. Your scene should be balanced, and it doesn't mean symmetrical. Just remember that with the size, objects also have a visual mass, so when you put one big object from the one side, try to compensate it with several smaller objects from the other. If you want to know more about principles of composition, I recommend you to watch this video, Rules of Composition from Envato Tuts Plus channel. So let's see how different scene compositions will apply on a web page layout. Resend.com has left-right layout or horizontal, and the 3D scene is an object-oriented and center-center. But for the horizontal layout, bottom right object scene also looks good. And for the horizontal layout, space-oriented scenes looks good as well. But for example, bottom-centered object-oriented scene may look a little bit strange here. So in this case, the hero section layout could be like this, top-bottom or vertical. Together, it can look like that. So title, other information and call to actions placed on the top, while spline scene placed in the bottom. Spline scene also can take the 100% of the web viewport. So then all web content would be placed just above the spline container, like at scale.com. So when you start create your 3D scene, think about composition. Composition of your scene and composition of the web page where this scene will be placed. So now together we will create this scene, which can be identified as object-oriented. This is a pretty simple scene, but looks impressive, I think. Let's start. Create a new file, and as usual, let's delete default rectangle. Now let's make the background a little bit brighter, like this, light gray, and we will start from creating areas where we will have our buildings. Press on this green circle, so we will switch our view from normal to view from top, and now we can see our floor grid, floor XZ. We will use this grid to create our areas. So first of all, let's create a first area. We will use a simple rectangle, select rectangle, and let's put this rectangle in the center. So now we can scale our rectangle, and as because these two sections of this grid equal 200, I will make my rectangle 180, like this. Also, I can manage some corner radius. I think 20 will be enough. And I will have a little extrusion around 5, bevel around 1, and bevel size around 2. So let's see what we have. We have this spot placed on the grid like this in the center. Okay, and if you take a look at this scene quickly, I can turn off the building group and we can see these areas. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 areas, the square in the center, something like this, and this around this square. So let's draw the same picture. Go on top, select this rectangle. Let's be sure that this is positioned in the center. Press 0 for X and 0 for Z. Now it's in the perfect center. Let's copy this rectangle, Command D. Let's swipe it to the left. And we can manage the position by changing the value in position X row. So it should be minus 200, 1, 0. So now it's also in the perfect center. But compared to this scene, these rectangles should be wider. So I will select this and I will change the size like this until my size here would be 380 and my position here would be minus 100. Also perfectly centered. Let's have another one section. So Command D for this rectangle, move it to the bottom, change size. So size would be 380 here. And let's check the value in this inputs. So minus 100, 1 and 200. So 1 is the position of on top like this, which is good. Okay, let's continue. Now we need to create this section and just duplicate another one rectangle to the bottom right corner. So duplicate rectangle, move it to the bottom, to the right, check positions, 200, 200 for Z. Let's duplicate this rectangle, and all we need to do here is just switch position from minus 200 to 200. So we just like a reverse to the right side. And maybe let's copy paste this rectangle and to move it to the top, which is actually not top, yeah, because originally our scene looks like this from default view. We just look at this like from top, and we don't move it to the top, we actually move it by Z, so we move it like far. But from this perspective, from the top, it looks like we move it up like this and to the right like this. And let's align it here, minus, no, just 100 and minus 200. Yeah, perfect. What else we need to do at this state? So we have areas, we will build our buildings, we will model our buildings on this area, but first thing we need to do is to take any area, for example this one, and apply save the default material. So I guess we will have the same material here as for the building, so let's call it just material like building. Okay, and now let's apply this material for the rest objects. Building. Okay, and now let's group all these objects together and rename it to the area. Okay dokie. Now we need to have something like as because this is area, which means it's like a pedestrian area or something like that, and we see this space between these areas, which would be like our road. To add road, we can also use a rectangle, or we can use plane. Remember that you cannot extrude plane. You can only transform plane to mesh object, and then you can extrude, but it will be hard to manage. Better to use rectangle in that case, because rectangle you can extrude. So I take rectangle, I put it in the center, I do not press reset transform in this case, because we have rectangle rotated in X and Z direction because it's lying right now on the floor. We just want to reset position like this, so we see the 0, 0, 0 here, and still rotation we need. And now we need to make it bigger, so let's scale it by size like this. Let's have it 650, 650. So we have our let's say road, right? And let's manage corner radius, and let's be sure that this like outside corner radius will looks good with this inside corner radius of our areas. So I will change corner, something like 40, right? Okay. And I can manage extrusion. I can set like 1. Okay, this would be our road. Press reset. And the last thing we need to do is to add these also like a pedestrian area around our road, so it's like a border for our scene. It's actually very easy to do. All we need is to first of all take our first rectangle and rename it as a road. Now let's duplicate it, and then we need to convert this rectangle to path like this. So we have path, right, the same shape as our rectangle, and we need to switch shape from circle to rectangle. And also it will be better if we will manage this size. So let's unlock size row here, and let's see what is responsible for this. Yeah, let's set 5, for example. About this size, well, let's see what we can do here. We can make it less, so we will have more space here. I think 5 and 20 would be okay. Let's add 1 for the corner, and probably we want to make it this corner like more smooth. So to do that, we can add subdivision up to 30, which is honestly not so good for the web, but for now we can go with that, and then we can optimize it, because for example, we want to make our work first of all to export maybe as an image for some socials, right? So then we need to have a good quality, so that's why we will move subdivision higher, make it higher. Okay, so we have areas, we have a road, and we have like our border, which is also some pedestrian area. Let's check our materials. So for road, we will have a separate material, so road should be darker than these areas. So let's create new material and call it road. So our road object has linked road material, and our road 2, which is also a pedestrian area, so we will assign building material. Okie dokie, let's start create our first building. And the thing of this scene is that all buildings here is just a simple rectangles and cubes and cloner option. So even there are a lot of like a polygons, you still can see on the performance test that we have export size just 92 kilobytes and a pretty good loading score. So I can say that this scene is pretty good for the web. So let's start build our first building. We will start from the center, from this one, and of course the idea of this lesson is to show you the technique, and then you can apply the same technique but experiment with some values and achieve your own buildings. Okay, let's start from the first one building. Let's go to our centered area, and we will use cube. So let's select cube and put it in the center. Let's reset position like this, and for all our buildings, for every rectangle, we will have the same style of bevel, so that it will make some consistent look between our buildings. So this style would be 1 for corner and 2 or 3 for corner side. So we will have every time this little bevel, which will highlight a little bit more some light around and make this nice picture. Okay, let's select our first cube and let's make it 100, 100, 100. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna make this first base shape, because another one shape would be cloned version of the cube, and I don't want to see like a fully floating blocks. Yeah, we need to have some column here. So select our cube in the center. You can move it to the top like this, because I don't want to see my cube under the ground, right? And now I will make it higher. To do this, I will use these square in my container, selection container. So I will pull it like this. And how to define a proper, like a best height? First of all, I want to be sure that my scene will be in isometric view like this. So I still want to see my building. If I will do it too high, right? Oh, what is going on? If I will do it too high, right, I just wouldn't see the top of this building. So my scene would looks like this, and this is like too high, so I will make it smaller. And at the same time, from composition perspective, the central building would be the highest from compared to other. So let's take, so I see a nice bug. Okay, let's have it like this. So if I select my cube, we can see that the size is, well, let's say 500, and let me just put it down like this. Okay, so we have a column. Now we need to have another one cube here, which we will clone. So I can just make a copy of this one, and all I need to do is to make it bigger from X and Y sides, but not so big from Z. So I just need to make it smaller like this. So we have this cube section. I think it's too big, 100. I will make it 80 like this. So I select our new cube, which we will clone right now. So when it's selected, press cloner, turn on cloner. Now we need to have linear, but to have like a column, we need to move Y position. So for the X, we will set 0, and let's change the, oh no, sorry, not Y, Z, because we rotated. Yes, because we rotated our cube, which is just like a not so critical. So I can manage the quantity of clones, and I can manage the space between these sections. Let's have or I can have 15, for example, and it will look like that with pretty big space. Or I can make it for example like this. Yeah, so the smaller space between sections, the more clones I can put. So we see, yeah, for example, I can stop at 20, and we have done our first building. Let's select our cubes. Let's assign our building material, and let's group them together and rename it as building 1. Now it's time to create second building, which is this one. So if you take a look at this building, you can see that it consists from 2 towers, and the technique here is pretty the same, but the difference is only in the default shape. If here we use cube, so here we will use rectangle. So let's start from selecting right view, you're on top, and now let's select rectangle, put this rectangle somewhere here. Let's change the size of this rectangle. Let's probably align. That's because we want to be this kind of in the center. So we have our rectangle. Let's extrude it to see our rectangle. Yes, this is our rectangle, right? So first thing we need to do is to build 2 towers. Yes, okay. Let's select our rectangle. It will be first tower, so it will be like this. So we prepare the base for the first tower. I will make corner around 50, and let's see, we can make extrusion maximum 128, but honestly we can type more than this value, or we can like pinch this side. When you will see like your pointer transform to arrows, you can pinch it and you can start slide it and make it much bigger. So this building should be smaller than this one, so extrusion would be, let's say, 350, like this. We can also manage corner radius, and we can manage roundness method. We can switch between smooth to arc, so it's only up to you how you want this. I want it like this. I like this shape. Okay, and let's duplicate this rectangle and move it to the back. So here we will have our small second tower, which will be, let's set 200. Yeah, 200 is okay. So we have 2 towers, right? Now we need to make these sections, but trick here is that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections which let's say link 2 towers, and then the first tower has their own sections. So let's see what is the secret here. Let's find this building. So it's a building tree. So what we see here is that their own sections, like from the beginning, it's just like we just don't see these sections because we see this big section. Okay, let's create for this building their section first. So we can just duplicate this rectangle. What we need to do is make it bigger, so bigger from this size and from this size, but smaller from extrusion perspective. Let's start from 20. So I can manage size up to 190 because my area is 200, and I can apply cloner already right now for this section. Apply cloner. Remember that we need to switch position, so we need to select right axis. In that case it would be Z. So let's move up. So what I see here, I don't like that the biggest shape looks a little bit strange, not the size here and here not equal to each other. So let me manage size like this. Yeah, like this, and make maybe more copy. Maybe let's have 10, or maybe let's make this section not 20 from extrusion perspective, but 15. Yeah, 15 is good. Okay, and this object which we cloned right now, so it has extrusion 15, bevel 1, and sides 3, the same as this rectangle, this cube. So then these edges look similar. Okay, and what we need to do is just to duplicate this rectangle we just cloned, right? Duplicate it, and let's move it to the left, which would be for our smaller tower, and let's change the count of clones, so we don't need these 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't need these 4 copies, so let's put 6 instead. And as because we want to make these sections looks linked to this first tower, let's select this rectangle and let's change this size here like this. So what we did right now, you see, we changed the size of this rectangle. So then we can stop somewhere here, and we have our second building done. So let's repeat algorithm we already had. Let's select all elements which our building consists of. Let's apply our building material and let's group them together and rename it to building 2. Done. Now let's build our third building from this side. Let's see what is behind this building. Well, looks more complex than 2 previous. Let's learn. So we see here some components. Interesting. Why? Because this part and this part pretty similar than this part, just smaller. So I decided like I will build this part and I will make it as a component, so then if I will make any changes on this part, then I will have the same changes with these and these copies. So let's do this first part, and then we will make this part as a component and just duplicate it a few times and we will change the size. So this is how we will build this building, and we also see that there are just three cubes here. Okay, let's start. So we will start from the base. Let's add new cube. Let's change corner to 1 and corner size to 3 to make the similar style. Now let's change the size. So I will hold Option and I will pull this to make different size. I need to have a perfect cube here, so I will have size everywhere 100. Let's set 120, 120, like this, and let's increase the size of the z-axis. I guess this building should be higher than this one, but not higher than this one. So we can manage, of course, size of the building later. So we will stop on this one. I just want to make it smaller because we will have some parts outside. We need also some space for these parts outside. Okay, now let's duplicate this cube and let's make it bigger from y perspective like this and smaller from x like this, and move it to this side, right, like this. Now we will use clone to make a few copies. So turn on cloner, and we already set correct position, direction, but we need to revert it to the back, so we just will slide it like this. 3 copy isn't enough, so I will increase up to, looks like I can fit 6 copies. Then I just need to manage position, and it can look like this. I'm okay with that. And the nice thing here, I just need to select this copy, duplicate it, and rotate it like this, rotate it to 90 degree, and then I just need to put this group, put this rectangle with cloners like this, and I have my section. Then I select them all, I apply our building material and I group them, and this group I convert to a component. I select create component. Good. Now I duplicate my component, move it to the top like this, and I will change the scale, for example 0.8, maybe 0.75. Yeah, that's better. And I will make another one copy of this thing, move it to the top, and I will scale it to 0.65, no, 0.5, yeah, 0.5, done. And we have our third building. Let's just group together all these component and their instances in one group and rename it as building 3. Okay, and so far we have 3 buildings, or 3.5. So we need to make 4 buildings, and let's recreate this one, this left one, which is actually pretty the same as this. So let's go to build this building. We need, as usual, we need some base. We use this base, let me show you for what. So for example, we have this building, right? And for this building I have this base, no, this base, yes. If I turn off this base, we will see like what is going on through this building, which is not realistic, right? So we should imitate some kind of like a window or a wall of the building. So this building consists of 3 cubes: the top cube, which is like a roof, the base cube, and again we have some cube with clones. So we have our cube. Let's do what we did before: set corner to 1, corner size to 3. Let's see where we have this cube, position K. Now let's make it a little bit bigger. So just like change some size like this or like this, like be comfortable to set any size you want. And let's make it higher. So select this cube, find this gray cube and start pull it like this. Okie dokie. Now let's duplicate this cube and new copy. We need to make smaller from this direction but bigger from this direction, right? So we will make this a few sections of this rectangle. So I will make it, let's say, size 120. This size would be 15. Let's see. Oh, Command Z. Yep. Okay, looks good. Now let's duplicate a few times this new cube. Turn on cloner. Let's set 0 for X and find correct, yeah, Y is correct direction here. Let's see how many copies we can have. For example, so I can have 7 copies and the space between these copies like this, or I can have, for example, 5 copies but space between them like this, or I will have 6 copies and then space between these copies would be like something like this, right? So you can like define based on what size you have of this cube. You can select your own amount of copies, and for example it could be 10 copies. No, you see 10 copies is too much. Maybe we need to make this section smaller. So it's totally up to you. I like how it looks like when it's 6 and with this size between. Now we need to make a roof. So I will make roof, just duplicated this base and duplicate. We'll pull it like this to make it smaller. So this This is my roof. Let's change size. Size should be 120. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I created fourth building. And again, select all objects, apply building material, group them all, and let's rename to the building 4. Good, we already have 4 buildings. Let's create this one, which is quite interesting. And actually, this little building is most complex building on this scene. Let me show you why. First of all, we need to create a cube, a simple cube, and let's set 1 and 2, not 3, but 2, because we will convert later this building into the Boolean group. So as less sides we will have in that case, the better performance would be. And let's set the size of this cube, for example, 40 by 40 by 40. No, too big. 30, 30, 30. Well, we can, yeah, we create this building pretty big. I will select this building and move it to the left like this, so I will have some space for the new one. Okay, so we have this cube. What we need to do now? Now we need to duplicate this cube, move it to the left, and make it smaller. So now we're gonna create a window, and it can be like a window we will create using Boolean operation. For new cube I will set corner to 0. So I have this big cube, this smaller cube, and I have operation which is subtraction, and I just created a cube with this window. Nice thing that I still can manage the window by managing size of this cube, so I can make it like this, or I can make it like this, or I can make it like this. I will continue with this. So all I need to do right now is just select my new Boolean group, and I can use cloner again. So I can create building with windows, and here I will use not liner but grid, because I want just have one line and a few floors. So I will use grid. Now I need to set, because size of my cube is 30, I can set size 30 here. Then I will have no any space between groups. But I have this kind of weird artifact. Let me select my Boolean cube, maybe because we have corner radius. So let's, yeah, if I will turn it off fully, we will not have this nice edge like we have here, or everywhere, but it will be a little bit better because then we will not have the strange artifact. Okay, let me position my Boolean group somewhere here, and then go back to the cloner, and let's see, count from X will create clones from the left and from the right side, right? And we see that every new clone appear or from left or from right, so our original object in the center. And if I want, for example, move all new clones to one side, I need to unselect use center to no. Now you see that every new clone appears from the right, but at the same time from the Y value, I guess, our clones appears down, which is not correct. I just need to set -30 here, then it will appears on top like how I need it, and I can set, for example, 5 floors, like, right? And I will set 3 here to make this building a little bit more a little bit bigger. Okay. Well, we have done with our, well, we can add some roof or something like that, but you can do it if you want, but I will stay on this option. So we just create a whole building from 2 cubes and 1 boolean group. So I will group this boolean group and I will rename it to building 5. Good. And now we need to finish just 2 buildings. And you can experiment with this technique with cubes and rectangles and some cloner and achieve some interesting new buildings. Let me show you. For example, we can take our first building. Let's select our section we cloned, and then we can play with rotation on Z and create nice rotated building like this. We can play with the scale, so we can make it change its size to when it will be go on top like this. Just need to make base smaller. So you can play with these options and achieve your own unique building. Let's create another one. Let's add a little roof to this object because I don't like these artifacts. So let's add some cube. Let's put it here. Change view, move on top. Set corners 1, corner sides 3. Let's make it smaller like this, bigger from this direction, so it's not in the center. And from this perspective, from this view, this. Let's see. Yeah, the good roof. Okie dokie. Now let's create this building. So what we have here, again, we have the same technique like here, where we have rectangle, one rectangle as a base and one rectangle with cloner, which create these sections, and just our rectangle just has different corner radius. So we can copy this rectangle because this is the area, or we can create new rectangle which will be already lying down how we need. We can manage the position of this rectangle to apply correct values on position X and Z. Let's make it bigger, for example 100. Let's test 120. Yeah, that's enough. Let's add some extrusion, bevel 1, bevel sides 3. At least now it looks the same like other buildings. Now let's change this, let's say this corner of our building should be rounded more than others. So select, here we have corner, right? And oh, I converted to the path. When I double click on this section, I need to make Command Z to have it as a rectangle again. So now I have this corner icon available. So I guess A, B, C. I guess this is C. Let me check. No, wrong. Yeah, this is a B. Okay, let's set 20, and let's set every other up to 2, maybe a little bit. Let's say arc. No, let's stay at smooth. Yes. Okay. Now let's make it higher than this one. Let's change it by changing extrusion. Maybe like this. I just realized we will have sections here, and sections also take some place, so I will set 100 instead of 120. Yes. Okie dokie. Now let's duplicate this rectangle we will make sections. Section should be bigger, so I will set 120 in that case. And I will change extrusion to... So extrusion, when we work with rectangle, right, is like a high of the object. Let's say 10, maybe, I don't know. And let's apply cloner. Let's switch from X direction to Z direction, and let's set maybe 5. Oh yeah, 5. Indeed what we need, but I think I will make the size of this section 110. I don't want to be super big. Yeah, something like this. So just the same technique as this building or as this, but different values, different shape, and we have completely different building. And again, let's apply, let's select all objects we did, and let's apply our building material. Let me check, did I apply? No, my cloner, I need to apply building material to the building operation for this building. Done. And add this roof to this group because this is a part of this building. And these two rectangles group together, so this is our building 6. Good. And now let's create the last building from this side, and this side is, you know, like side where user usually don't look at, because we have some kind of central object, some interesting in the first line. So here we can make something simple, and as you can see on this example, I made really very simple building, just grouping a simple cube. So let's go back and let's add this cube here. Let's change corner radius 1 and corner size I will set 2 in that case, because I will clone this. Every new clone create some polygons, so 2 will be enough here. Okay, I have a cube. Now let's apply cloner with a grid, because we need to create not just the one line, but floors as well. So I select grid. What I need to do right now is to set correct direction for the size value. So every new clone from X direction will appear to the left, right? Yes. So we'll have 4 clones. Then Y correct direction. Let's set and for Z, not the correct direction. Let's apply minus 30. What is the size of our cube, by the way? 36. Let's apply 35, and set minus 35 at cloner size. So then we will have no space between these cubes. So I guess we can add one more clone from Y direction, so 9. And let's see, what is the... I think this size is enough. So let's just add some roof. Roof is on fire. Let's add some roof. So I add cube. I just make this cube bigger a little bit than our building. Move it to the top. Corner 1, corner size 3. And the whole size of the roof like this. Yep. Reset isometric. So we build our scene. Let's make some work on a layer level. Select our latest objects, apply building material, group them together, rename to the building 7. Okay, now we need to work on a few things. Now we need to think about materials, about light, shadow, and about environment. And first of all, I'm gonna add some big floor. To do that, I will press plus, I will add plane, I will just select here, so I put my plane. Now I will reset position, so my plane in the center. Now let's change size. I will set size 3000. Why I set this big size? Because I don't want to see the transition between floor and background. Even we will create a material for this plane where we'll have this transition like very smooth. I still like when it's like just very smooth transition, so you don't see border. And we have done with our scene, our models. Let's start create and work on material. First of all, let's check if we linked everything to the material. So I will select my building material and I will just play with color. So I see that all objects assign to this material, and we have road. I will show you one interesting trick. So the idea also is to simplify my work. So I want to have a clay design. So background, buildings, everything would be like in one color. Only shadow will be darker, and shadow will create nice like a silhouette and separation between buildings. So let's start from material first. My building will depend, material of my building will depend on the background. So first I need to select and set background I want. So I like a little blue, light gray, like this. So not white, not too gray, something like this. So I set a background color like this, light gray with a little bit blue. Now I add this color to the color assets. So this is my main color, right? And see what we will do next. I will select my building material, and here, as because by default I have color layer, I will apply my main color from the library to my buildings, and in that case I will set lightning with overlay 100% like this. So for the second I will turn off the plane and I will turn off the grid plane. So now if I will change main color, I will change main color from the color assets. So I select main color. When I will change main color, you see that my buildings also will change its color, and it will match with more or less with the background. So it will help me define like best color later, but I will stay somewhere here. So I really like this gray blue, light gray blue color. Okay, we set building material. Yeah, it's just a simple material with lightning and with color. Now let's set for the road, and as I said, road should be like the same but a little bit darker. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do the same what I did for the building material. I will apply main color, I will apply lightning 100% with overlay, but I will add one more color, position this color between main color and light. I will make it black, and I will manage transparency to probably 10, maybe 20. Yes, 20. Let me check if I will apply overlay mode. Maybe I can. With overlay it become blue. With normal, yes. So my road material would be 100% of lightning fong with overlay blending mode, black color with 20% of transparency, and main color as the base. And now let me show you one interesting trick to first of all, why we need to have plane here, because you can see that we have this nice shadow from this directional light, and without plane we don't have this shadow, and we don't have feeling like this is like a city on some ground, right? Because we don't see shadow here. So that's why I need to plane. So I want to have this plane the same color as a background. So maybe when I will rotate this scene somewhere, I don't want to see this direction, right? I don't want to see this transition between plane and background. So the trick here is I select my plane. I don't want to assign any material, but I can assign, for example, building material on my plane. So I select my plane, I apply building material, because I will work with this kind of the same colors and lighting. I just will detach this material from plane, because then I just need to add something. I don't want to have other objects with the same material. First of all, for the plane, I will add depth. I will add depth depth material. I will move it to the top, and let's see, I need to make a picture of my depth. Looks like this, from white to black, like this. And then I select mask. So what I did, I said that this depth material with this map where we have white in the center and black around, I want to apply this as a mask, which means show me on the material which is behind, which is bottom of the mask, show me this material where I have white part, and don't show me when I have black part. So I apply mask, and what we see here, let me quickly show you. We see here, so this is like a blue color. We see this blue color here, but we don't see this blue color here. So the same, we see our background color here, and we don't see our background color here. And as because we don't see our background color here, that means we see something like just transparent part of our, but we can see some artifacts like this because we have lightning, directional light, which shine different based on angle we look at our scene. So to avoid this picture, I duplicate this depth material of my plane and move it to the top and apply this depth material to the light. So I have the same depth material and I apply this as a mask as for the color and for the lightning. And reset isometric. And what else I have here to manage? When I press reset and then I press isometric, looks like my scene, even everything like in the center, a little bit on top, and I want to move it like this. So while I'm on orthographic isometric view, I can just select everything, even directional light, group it to the one group and move it to the bottom like this, until we will have like this part of our object and this part like at the same distance between edges, screen edges, let's say. So now it's in the center. And the very last thing we need to do to make our scene looks better is to apply ambient shadow. As soon as I turn on ambient shadow, the picture will be absolutely different and you will like it. Well, maybe not so sexy, but now we have shadows like where we should it have. We should have like in these parts of our buildings, between buildings. Without shadow, it's too flat. We just need to manage ambient shadow. First of all, we need to manage color for the ambient shadow. We can select our main color and then we can make unlink this color, and then we need to move on this direction, not too blue, not too black, like this, right? You see, so we need to have like, because we have little blue on our background, little blue on our material of building, we also need to have a little bit blue for our ambient shadow. So I think, well, something like this. And with radius and bias you can see how we can manage the picture. For example, this is too big shadow, so let's see, this is too high contrast shadow, so we need to find some balanced, yeah, like this. Okie dokie, and we have done with our scene. We can continue play, for example, with a main color. So I can select main color and I can play with this color. But remember, when you will change this color, don't forget to change color for the ambient shadow. It should be the same color but darker as your background color. So I will stay at some kind of blue color. I can manage the directional light because you can see where is directional light right now. So I need to move it up, and as because we will have isometric view, I need to move it to the left. So I want to have like light left side lighter than right side. So I will manage position. Wow, it also looks interesting, right? Like a sunrise. So you can play with this shadow position. You can also play with how the shadow looks like. It shouldn't be so blurred. I can say huge. For example, like this. And you can play with some shapes. So maybe you don't want to have this building so rounded. Maybe you want to have it like this. So this is the nice thing here. You still can play with some shapes and some colors. It's totally up to you. And now let me show you a few important tricks. How you can embed this scene into the web in the future. There are a lot of options. So for example, I want this scene be as a object-oriented, right-centered position. So I will have this scene from the right like this, and I will have some web content from the left like this. But then I need to manage interaction with which I can do with my scene. For example, I will have on this web the web pages background, so that means I need to make my background transparent, which I can do in the settings. But I just want to allow user rotate this scene like this, but not like this, only on the horizontal direction. To do that, I need to go to the expert, place settings, and I need to select orbit limits. So now we have orbit limits, which means in all direction we can orbit our scene only on this value. So that means I can't fully rotate my scene. It's not possible. So I can do the same, but only for one direction. So I can set, for example, 180 for the 180 for the left and right horizontal direction. That means I can't orbit this scene up and down. I can only rotate it left and right. And also I want this direction light stay at the same. So right now when we rotate this scene, we see the shadow rotates with all objects as well, because we rotate directional light as well. I can add a camera, and I can add directional light inside the camera layer like this. So now while rotating shadow always shine in the same direction. That looks, I just rotate the composition of the scene. I don't like this shadow color anymore. I just need to change it. Yeah. So now I can embed my scene like this, and oh, sorry. And now I can embed my scene like this, and user will able only rotate it like this. But you can also have interesting effect with animating camera. So let me move out directional light and select my camera and show you also one nice trick. Maybe I want to have a nice appearance of this spline scene on my side, so when user will see the will load the web page, user will see some interesting animation of flying camera, for example. How to do that? Let me show you. So we have our camera object, and as you remember, camera also can be animated. So I have states here, so I can set, for example, for base state, my camera will look at our city like orthographic isometric perspective, but for the second state, and now I just need to select camera on my viewport to manage camera position. And for the second state, I can, for example, look at like this. So basic state and second state. All I need to do right now is just add transition event. Let's make it from base state to state, and let's set 3 seconds. So we animated our camera. So let's play. Then it will look like this. Of course, we can turn off, for example, ambient shadow to make scene performance better. But from the left side, we can have some web content. So this is one thing you can do with camera. So you can really animate position of the camera. And another one thing is, maybe I want this scene be always from the right, and I just want to, while scrolling, rotate this scene. To do that, so I don't need a camera, for example, in this example, I need just set a rotation animation where scroll would be a trigger or event. So let's move out plane. So we have our group, which is our scene. And for this group, I will have states. The first state is like a regular state, and for the second state, I will rotate it by y-axis minus 360. And now I create event. I select, instead of start, scroll. And for the transition, I add this group from base state to state. The time and easing here is not so important because we work with steps, and later when you will export this scene with scroll to Framer, for example, you need set correct scroll type. So for example, I want animation start from as soon as I see this section, when this section is in the bottom of the page, where this section is in the middle, something like this. Well, let's play our scene and look what is going on when I start scroll. Well, pretty close what I wanted, but I'm not only rotate while scrolling, I'm also move my scene while scrolling. To avoid this, I need to go to export, play settings, and I need to turn off pan. Yes, pan should be no. And let's try again. Yes. So now while scrolling, oh, I also need to turn off zoom because I can accidentally zoom. So now while scrolling, we rotate our object, and it can look in the web, it can look like this, for example. And the last thing I wanted you to show, let's say I have a camera object and my camera has 2 states. So basic state, it looks like this. The second state, it look, for example here. And maybe I decided at what moment that this state where I look at my camera. Anyway, this state at any object where we can have more than one states, right? We can have the base state with some values and the second state. And usually when you delete you can delete only state you added, but you can't delete base state. But what if you like how your object, in my case how camera, looks at this state, but I don't like how it looks at the base state? So what I want to remove all states but keep what I have for the state instead of what I have for the base state. To do that, I can just click on state by context menu, and I can push changes from this state to base state, and then I can just delete it. So I save properties from state and apply it to the base state. This is it. We created a scene like this, and I'm very interested to see what you created, so please share with me in any way how it will be convenient to you, and continue to play with shapes, continue to play with textures, with material. So feel free to experiment with this scene. And in the next lesson, we will talk more about how to export and embed your scene into the web. So thank you, and see you in the next video.